And so like I came out that machine and I was clear for 6 days, no clouds. And oh my God, I was like I was walking around in 3D or something. Like everything smelled different, everything looked different, and it was just the world was beautiful again.
Opinions shared by the guests of the show are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of the host, Buying Waves, or the Brain Injury Network. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of a healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carrie, a stroke survivor and a member of Bind.
And I'm Brittany. I'm a brain injury survivor and member of Bind. Today, our guest is William Person, a former 9-year Team USA bobsled whose life was turned upside down by CTE like symptoms. He endured depression, severe confusion, and saw firsthand how untreated brain injuries devastate not only athletes, but also military veterans. Currently, a CTE diagnosis can only be confirmed after death. But while alive, the symptoms strip away quality of life and mental clarity. William found renewed hope through hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which rapidly restored parts of his world he thought were lost for good. He now works tirelessly to help others access similar care. Tell us about little about yourself and personally and as an athlete for Team USA.
Oh, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate what you guys do. I really respect it. It's very important. First, before we get started, I just want to know why she intimidated me with all the long hair. Just what is that?
Oh, I was thinking y'all have. I feel left out. I feel like we should. I should go.
The funny part is my hair is only long because of my injury.
Oh,
I was bald my whole life. I always buzzed my hair. And one day, I have a cousin. Matter of fact, he got in trouble in Texas for some strange reason. So he got in trouble, and he was telling me about these bizarre things that happened in his case. Like he knew somebody on the jury. His public defender was sleeping. They picked the wrong person in the lineup, and it sounds so ridiculous. I'm like, okay, buddy. And but I said at least I'll look in. It's my his mother, and my mother's sisters, and they both passed. And I said, well, at least I can do for out of respect for my aunt is check on her son. So I actually started pulling the record. Well, before I pulled the records, I couldn't remember to pull the records. I kept forgetting, and then he'll call me. It'll be months go by. I forgot to do it again, and it just kept happening. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to cut my hair again until I put some love in on this case. And one day I looked in the mirror and I was like, why is my hair so long? And my friends had to remind me, oh, you said you was going to check in on your cousin's case before you cut your hair again. And then it just kept growing. Like that's how, and it reminded me to check on this case, which I did. But that's why my hair, it's here now. I never knew my hair would grow.
that's. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh. All right.
So yeah. So if you'll just tell us a little bit about yourself, so our listeners can get to know you. We can get to know you because we just
Okay.
know what we've read so far.
Well, I grew up in the Midwest, and the truth is, I was a track. We call us track heads, or I love running track, and all I wanted to do was run around in a circle. So when college was over, I mean high school was over, you can either quit running or you can go to college and run. And so
Right.
it took me to college, and I stayed on that path. That path took me from college, or took me through college. When I left, I started working in the mental health field, and then I started doing like movies like Jerry Maguire, Any Given Sunday.
Ooh,
Uh, yeah, and then so I just kept running track, and I was about 28 at that time. So I'm starting to wind down my track career, and then bobsledding shows up, and I really didn't want to do it to be honest, but I was like the fastest American in Utah at the time. I was training at Brigham Young University, and NBC called me. They were doing tryouts, and I was like, man, I might be able to pick up a sponsor or something if I go to this tryout. So I went to this tryout, and this guy, it was like, I don't know, maybe 100 people out there, and they had this treadmill, and they take it, and what they do is they put it on that high incline,
Uh-huh.
and then they had these like bobsled handlebars connected to it. So you got to hold these things real tight. And that treadmill was hooked up to a computer, and they punch in 10 miles an hour. And so the faster you run on that thing, and the more pressure you apply, the quicker you get to 10 miles an hour. So I didn't know anything about this sport. So I watched the first maybe 30 people go through. And then it was my turn. I get up there. And like I said, NBC's covering this thing. All these hot lights are on me. And so I get on this thing and I just take off. And when I finished, the driver, his eyes were like this big. So I knew I did really good or really bad. I didn't know which one. And so at that time, actually, I owned a youth treatment facility. I wrote the first ever independent living transitional housing program for youth in Utah. And so they opened me as a pilot program. So that's kind of what I was doing at the time. So, so when we went for the tryout, I went through it. This guy's eyes get big. Okay, so I get a little glitchy sometimes. And I'd be like, okay, where am I at?
You're good.
I call it a glitch in my little matrix, but yeah, it
There
happens.
you go.
Yeah.
So this guy puts his arm around me and he's like, hey, if I offer you $50,000 for the next 3 months, would you race on my team? So I'm a businessman. So I'm like, yeah, if it's a fair price, but if not, we can renegotiate later. But I'm thinking 50 grand for 3 months. Write my check right now, please. Yeah. And so that tryout was on a Wednesday, I think. I went to the bobsled track and pushed for the first time that Sunday. Some things happened when I was there. As I was getting off the bobsled truck, we're at the top of this mountain. I get off this truck. One of my teammates from college, his name is Billy Schiffenauer. He sees me. He's like, Will, I've been trying to call you, man. Like, where you been? Like, I've been looking for you so you can race on our team. So this driver, he panics. He's like, hey, buddy, don't leave me. I'll get you more money. So I'm thinking I'm getting 50,000 plus I'm getting some more. But one thing I learned really quick is our bobsleds were built by NASCAR at the time. It was a guy named Jeff Bodine. So they look like NASCARs. This guy's sled was shaped like a spaceship. It had a bubble on it. It was just non-aerodynamic. And no matter how fast I pushed him down that hill, the girls were beating us to the bottom. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. How's he going to pay me 50 grand? Like, we're going to lose everything, you know? And the truth was, he didn't have any sponsors. He tricked me. He didn't have any money. Yeah. And so I wound up leaving that team that week. Another team picked me up, and we won. Actually, I won a medal, America's Cup medal, that first week. So within 7 days of joining the sport, I won the medal, and it was being televised by NBC, and they ran the story. I never even saw the story. People told me about it. And it was just like, it was fun, different. And I stuck around for 9 more years. So that's kind of how I got involved in the sport itself. And that was my journey there.
That's very crazy. I mean, to go just, no experience to look at you winning medals right away. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was just running. Like, I was always a runner. And
right.
only difference is I was now running on ice. Like, no big deal. It's the same thing.
So I guess and totally off topic, but not off topic. So is the driver the guy in front?
Yes.
Okay. So so the driver's the one that's in, and you're the one pushing it to get it going. Okay.
Well, there's a 2-man sled, and then there's a 4-man sled.
Yeah, I knew there.
So in a 4-man, I'm all the way in the back usually.
Okay.
In a 2-man, I'm all the way in the back, of course. So yeah.
Okay.
I mean, never driven.
A whole lot differently now when the Olympics come back around. But yeah, that's very cool.
Because so a lot of people always ask me, it was like, so when you guys are going through the turns, you guys synchronize doing this. Because they saw that movie Cool Runnings and they think that that's a real thing. Like, no, that's the G-forces kicking our butt. That's why we're doing this. We had no control over that. Yeah.
That's funny. That's very funny. The first time you kind of started realizing maybe you had a concussion or you were having concussion symptoms, was that back in the track days, or did that not happen until the bobsledding?
Bobsledding.
Okay.
Yeah, bobsledding. 100%.
Okay. And so what made you maybe realize that you needed to seek medical treatment? Did did you just realize it, or did someone on your team kind of help?
Well, my first concussion was right before the 2002 Winter Olympics. We're racing World Cup in St. Moritz, Switzerland, and we had a really really nasty crash. And like the guy who was actually sitting behind me that day, I'm usually the guy in the back, but on this day I was sitting number three spot, and he was knocked unconscious.
Oh,
There's a video I can actually, it's on my YouTube channel. I can send it to you. But yeah, he was knocked unconscious, and I think we all got beat up pretty bad, except the driver, because the driver. One thing about him, they know when we're about to crash, so you start seeing them shuffling around. They'll start ducking up underneath the little dashboard. I'm like, you supposed to ride that out with us, but they know. See, I don't know. We've crashed until either I hit my head or sometimes we're on our side and we're sliding. And what happens is two things can touch the ice when you crash on your side. It's your shoulder, which is very dangerous because if you leave your shoulder on that ice at that speed, it's gonna burn all of the flesh off, all the way to the bone. And then your helmet could be on the ice. So, but for your helmet on the ice, you guys remember being in elementary school and you get the fingernails on the chalkboard like that
uh-huh.
Oh
sound?
yeah. Oh.
Multiply that by 30 to 40. Like, yeah, so that noise, so you got your head on the ice because you don't want your flesh to burn off, but then that noise is just destroying you, and then you just like you get that, but then now you warming this up again. So it's like you're doing your best to just keep this off, but as
Right.
yeah, and yeah, so that was my first crash, and then after that, like we went back like to the hotel. I couldn't walk straight for a week. I had vertigo,
Oh, wow.
and of course my brakeman was unconscious, so it was just it wasn't pretty. So that was my first concussion with the sport, and my symptoms didn't kick in for me until I had some things going off in 2012. So it was like a 10-year span when it started getting unbearable, and then the second wave kicked in about another 5 to 6 years after that. And so like that's when life gets unbearable. Like you don't like I struggled with reading and writing and doing basic math. And in college, I was an electrical engineering student, so math is my background. And so I got to the point where I just couldn't function anymore. I was just literally crawling around on my floor in my apartment, and I thought it was diabetes. It looks like people with low blood sugar. Like you have no energy. I had these random days I was cloudy, and then those random days of cloudiness turned into random days of clarity, and it switched up on me, and I didn't even recognize it. It was
Mm.
too late, and next thing I know, I'm like this zombie or something. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah,
Oh, we get it because we say we all have brain injuries, and a brain injury, you don't know a brain injury until you got a brain injury. So, definitely with all the symptoms here, with
yeah,
different brain injuries, we know like at least like what halfway you're going through because we either went through it or seen it or felt it,
Right.
experienced it
Yeah. And
first on.
and that's the same thing we say, if you've met a brain injury, you've met one brain injury because
yeah,
while we can relate, we don't necessarily, it's the brain is so amazing that the way each brain is affected is not affected in the same way. I mean, we could have the exact same head injury and still be affected differently because the brain
absolutely.
the brain says,
Mhm.
well, I'm going to pick this to be wrong with this person and this to be wrong with that person. But so, what I guess got you on the track to start seeking treatment that you're like, okay, this is more than just brain fog or not feeling right. I need to get help. What kind of prompted you to go seek that help?
I had a teammate. He was I had a teammate. We weren't even friends. We weren't friends doing bobsledding days. We were just teammates. We weren't, we didn't spend time together. We were cordial with each other, but we just didn't have that bond like that. And when I left the sport, he wanted to become a writer, and so I moved back to LA. I was writing shows and optioning shows to different networks at the time, and so he would call me, and he would have these really. crazy ideas like these scripts, and I'm teaching them how to fix them and how to make them into a story. And so we had these calls, like they were random calls when he called me about it. And the truth is, I just now, like, this was prior to COVID, and I'm just now understanding what this really was. What I know now, I figured out, like, these stories he had, they weren't creative writing. His mind had already started to slip.
Mm.
And so what I thought was just, this guy's he's going to be a brilliant storyteller. Now his mind was gone, and I didn't know it. And so the last time he called me, he was speaking gibberish,
Mm.
and like, I couldn't understand anything he said, and he got so frustrated, he hung up the telephone. And like I told you, my background was mental health, and I knew he needed help. And I told myself every day, I got to help my buddy. I got to help him. I have to help him. And the truth, I didn't do anything to help him. I just, every day I talked about it in my mind to myself. I was living alone. And like, there's a time lapse for me. Like, I don't know what I did in my apartment every day because the TV wasn't on, the radio wasn't on. I was really gone. And so when I found out, well, I don't know how much time passed. Like, there's a gap there in my mind. I don't know. So eventually, I got the word that he went to his family's factory and he hung himself.
Mm.
And I felt, man, just responsible. I felt like my hands were just dirty because I didn't help him. I knew he needed help. That's my background, and I did nothing. And that's when I started trying to find help, because I started calling around to my teammates and found out it was all of us. It wasn't like one or two people. And as you mentioned earlier, it affects us differently. Like, I've got teammates with memory loss, I got teammates with Parkinson's, and everything in between. I've got teammates that already killed themselves, and many others who've tried. So yeah, it really affects us all differently. Yeah. But with Pablo, it's just, it just broke my heart. And that's what spared the class action. And the truth is, I found out later. It took me a long time to forgive myself. But when his autopsy came out, he was in stage 4 of CTE, and that's how I knew what was wrong with me. Because this thing now has a name. Now
Right.
I can say, okay, this is what this. Yeah, and it was just like, another part that helped me to forgive myself was, um, at that time when I called myself helping him, like, I couldn't help him because I needed help. I was literally crawling around on the floor of my own apartment. I know that. And but I didn't realize, man, I just needed this help, man. I just thought it was just diabetes was on me and it's gonna get diagnosed eventually. And they're gonna give me this insulin, and but it just didn't work that way. Yeah.
So, tell me, how did you go, like, to get treatment? Like, you started it because it affected your life, so you went and started to get it treatment. And what kind of treatments?
Well, that's the problem. There is no treatment. There was never any treatment. And that's why we are where we are. Like, most people, like, for example, I talked to you about that first crash I had, right? My brakeman was unconscious. I had vertigo. They sent us back. He was my roommate. So they sent us back to the hotel. And what they actually told us to do was ridiculous. They said, watch each other and make sure you don't go to sleep. So who's supposed to watch you? Me, I can't sit up in the bed without the room spinning. And he was already knocked unconscious. So that's what the treatment of concussions were back then.
Yeah.
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 Now, now they said that. I remember that as a kid, playing soccer. It's like, you get hit on the head, and they just look at your parents and go, okay, well, just don't let them go to sleep for
Yes.
4 hours.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember those days. And do you know, now talking about that, do you know, I know a lot of the sports, I'm a big hockey fan. So,
Oh,
I,
they got it bad. Ooh.
yeah, well, I know hockey has, created new concussion protocols. So there's like, you get hit on the ice, you immediately get taken back and get
Mm.
checked out, and they do stuff. So do you know? I know you're not currently in bobsledding anymore. Have they added any kind of concussion protocols in the bobsledding sport that you're aware of?
They have, because of my lawsuit.
Oh, okay. I
Okay.
didn't
Yeah.
realize you had a lawsuit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a class action lawsuit. And what I asked for, like, when I went in, like, I thought my days were numbered. I thought I was about to die or soon. And I was praying for death, to be honest. I was praying for it. And so the one thing I asked them for, or two things, I said, take care of my guys. And I asked them, I said, if something happens to me, this case goes on, right? And they promised me yes. I said, okay, so take care of my guys. And the number one thing is warn the new generation. I said,
Right.
it's too late for me, but it's not too late for them. And they should understand what they're getting into. And they're still fighting me on the wording on that thing. I don't understand it. And that's the one reason why I haven't settled this case is because there's offers on the table right now. Like the offer is not, they only want to evaluate us, no treatment. And I don't understand that. They
Right.
still, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking. I was just, yeah, no, you going.
Yeah, I asked the judge the other day, we are in court. I was like, Your Honor, like, would you send your child to a doctor who's not going to treat him? Like, where's the care at here? You know, where's the medical? Like, we need help. I came to court for help and for relief. And I said, we're not getting that. They just want to document us dying. And that's unacceptable for me. So my last 3 days, my last three court hearings, it was virtually me versus my lawyers and Olympic lawyers who are working together now. Like they want to push this settlement through, and here I'm the lone person right here. No, I'm all by myself in court right now. It's the most ridiculous thing. I had some lawyers, a huge lawyer, come aboard. It was Robert Shapiro, as a matter of fact. I spoke to his office. I spoke to him directly. He was like, "Oh my God, I know what they're doing." I said, "I'm gonna see if I can help you." He did his investigation. We had a couple more phone calls. He sends me an email. He says, "Hey, Will," um, it says, "I fired your lead attorney. I kept your co-counsel because I know them. We're gonna get you guys the help you need." And I was like, "Yes."
Well, that's good news. So,
Wait, not done yet.
okay.
Oh.
24 hours later, he sends me another email. Will, unless the judge does not accept the offer that's on the table, I can't help you. And I said, well, if you're my lawyer, the judge won't ever see the offer that's on the table because I rejected it. So you really shouldn't be taking it to court. And so he said, so we went to court. I represented myself versus my lawyers and the other lawyers. The judge sided with me, but Shapiro did not come back. I knew he wasn't coming back because I knew his energy told me from the beginning he wasn't coming back. And so, like, I haven't been able to find other lawyers to come in and take over. And so I'm really fighting this thing to the end by myself. So that's where we are right now.
Okay, well, we'll wish you luck. We'll have to get more
Mhm.
information about that. But I know one of the big things you've talked about that I know we're curious and our members are curious is about the hyperbaric oxygen
Yeah.
chamber treatment. How did you start? How did you find out about that, and how has that helped?
Well, I found out about it. I whenever I have some kind of clarity, I'm on the internet. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, but I tell you one thing about CTE. If you look it up, it'll make you just want to give up because these athletes and other people with it, they're killing people. They're killing their wife, their spouses, and their mothers, their girlfriends, and or they're murdering themselves.
Yeah.
And so it's just all brutal. You look at it and like it gives you no hope. So one day I found one. It was Joe Namath, football guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he used hyperbaric oxygen to reverse his CTE symptoms. And I was like, what? You know? So only thing I knew about hyperbaric oxygen was Michael Jackson had one. And I was like, I don't want to be the creepy guy with a hyperbaric oxygen machine. You know, that's what everybody looked at Michael Jackson as. He was the weird guy. And so I went and tried it. And it was crazy. Like I was in that chamber for 1 hour. And when I came out, see, my glasses are slightly tinted because I'm now sensitive to light, smells, and sounds, which you probably already know. You probably do with the same thing, I would assume. And I came out that chamber. I went to put my glasses on, and I took them off a few times. And then the salesman was like, "What's wrong?" I say, "I don't know. Everything's extra bright, and the skies are actually blue." Like I said, "I don't think I was really seeing colors before." And I said, "I don't think I need my glasses." And he said the craziest thing to me. He said, "Oh, you're one of those." And I'm thinking, "Oh, here come the salesman. He's going to try to sell me this $25,000 machine that I can't afford right now." And but he was right. Some people get immediate relief, but some people need like 30 days of 2-a-day sessions to get the same relief that I get with the one session. And so, like, I came out that machine and I was clear for 6 days, no clouds. And oh my God, I was like I was walking around in 3D or something. Like everything smelled different, everything looked different, and it was just the world was beautiful again. And I realized like I didn't see the beauty in anything for a long time. And I went back the second week at the end of that week and tried it again. And now I'm clear for 9 days. And I knew this was no fluke. It was no accident. This thing is real. It wasn't no like sometimes you just want to be healthy so bad you can trick yourself. It wasn't none of that. And man, and then I had to buy one. So I have one in my back bedroom. So yeah, it's been a lifesaver. Without that, that's the only relief I've ever received at all. Like I saw, yeah, I don't know if you guys have, but like my doctor tried to give me a Zoloft one time, and it made things even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes depression medicine works and
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
send you off the rails.
yeah. I had to give it up. I was no, well, no. I just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I also saw that you launched a GoFundMe campaign to make hyperbaric oxygen chambers therapy accessible to all. What are your biggest challenges in scaling, example costs, regulation hurdles, and physician buy-in and facility requirements?
Well, I'm doing something a little bit different. Like I'm not opening one. See, there's different levels of chambers. There's like the one I have in my home is what they call a 1.3 atmosphere. And then there's a 1.4, there's a 1.5, there's a 2.0. Then you get up to that stuff you find in the hospital, like 3.0.
Okay.
Those are the ones like if you are a burn victim or something, they'll put you in there. If you got bed sores, they'll put you in there. If you go too deep in the ocean, come up too fast, they'll put you in there. So, but I want to use the simple ones, the ones that I've been using that works for me. They're less dangerous.
Hmm.
And so the regulation part is really not there. I'm opening it as a wellness center. So like I have one right now, like I can bring as many people as I could through there, but I have a soft chamber and it's not going to hold up. It wasn't designed to have uh, that type of traffic going through it.
Sure.
So I need to get the bigger ones that are made out of metal and I can treat 4 people at a time or depending on what size I get. If I get one that can accommodate 2 people, 2 at a time. And that's really, and so my biggest thing now is just getting the word out what we're trying to do. And like, another thing is people are telling me like, you need to charge. But my thing is, I don't want to charge at all. Like, this has to be a free service. Otherwise, people won't come get the service.
Right.
Um, yeah. And I don't want that. And then for me, even for myself, I looked at it like this. When I found out this thing was saving my life, now I need one, but now I can't afford the medicine, which is the machine. I literally laid back down on the floor and I was fading away again slowly because I didn't have access to treatment anymore. And then my girlfriend was talking to my dad. And the next thing I know, this money shows up in my account. My dad saved my butt. He's like, go get that machine. And he had been promising, he'd been asking me for a while. And I was like, no. I said, I'll figure it out. I'll move some things around and I'll eventually get it. But they saw me fade back out into the abyss and they was like, no, no, no. And so now I have one. And so like I just keep my maintenance up on it. But my only side effect for me is like if I go 30 days without treatment, I I go backwards. Where a lot of people get permanent treatment, permanent relief. For me, it hasn't been. I haven't been that lucky. Um, so yeah. So I now have to maintain it, and yeah,
Okay. Well, I want to, I mean, I love all this. I feel like we could talk more and I want to talk more, but unfortunately, we kind of have to cut things short. So before we might talk about seeing getting you back on later and get more into it, but
yeah,
what is like what's your final piece of advice that you would like to give out there to listeners? Because I know CTE is one of those things that again, yeah, you can't really diagnose, unfortunately, prior
yeah,
to death, but there are symptoms, like you said, they're just heavy concussion symptoms and things. But so, like, what one piece of advice would you like to leave our listeners?
How much time do you have?
You tell us. You give it. We'll give
Yeah.
you the time.
Yes.
Well, I would say if your loved one, because this is only your loved one can see this in the people that's suffering. No athlete that I've known, including myself, saw it in ourselves. Other people had to
Okay.
point it out. So if your loved one is doing something that's out of the norm, check on them. Check on them. If you know they were playing sports where or things they did something, maybe they just fell down and hit their head, but now they're doing something that's out of their character. Get them to the hospital, get them checked out because, and a lot of these things are being misdiagnosed. And the reason why I ask you how much time you have, I just barely figured something out the other day. This might sound even crazier. My background is mental health. I cut my teeth at this place. It was the first mental health facility west of the Mississippi River in Stockton, California. So I saw all the extreme behaviors. Everybody flocked there for service, right? Um, and so I really know like all the disorders. I've been around them. So let me slow down just a little bit. So I went to watch the Kanye West um, documentary last week, right? And I'm watching this guy, and I'm just like, that guy's not bipolar. I always said that. I always thought he might have been schizophrenic, but I said never bipolar. So I'm watching him, and then all of a sudden, I start doing the math. Nobody gets a bipolar diagnosis at 40. You get that at 18, 19, 20. It's the one that's going to kick your butt. You might make it to 21, but you're not going to make it to 40 with that without that diagnosis because you're going to be doing something so bizarre, somebody going to turn you in. It's like, come and get him. You know, that's what happens. So I did the math and I said, wait a minute, 40? No way. I said, his symptoms and his behavior lines up with CTE. I was like, but he's a rapper. And then I remember one of his songs. He had a song he raps about getting in a car crash. He broke his jaw. His jaw was in the back of his mouth. He almost didn't get this contract because of it. And I went, oh my God, he's misdiagnosed, I bet. I said, I bet you this is from his concussion because, and then I did the math. I came home from the movies and I put on a chart. My crash was in 2002. My symptoms kicked in 2012. That's 10 years. The next one was another 6 years. So I did the math and I literally picked the year that he had his car crash without knowing. I said it has to be 2002 or 2000 at the earliest, but around 2002. And my girlfriend looked it up, said 2002. Booyah. So even with him, all our symptoms look like something else. It's easy for your loved ones to get misdiagnosed. These doctors, trust me, they've always checked my blood, never checked my brain. So when your loved one is doing something out the norm, just don't turn your back on them. Don't go to sleep at night without getting them some help. It's out there. And the number one thing, this misdiagnosis, is these head injuries, because they just didn't treat them. They never treated them. It's the only injury I've ever had that they said go do nothing. Usually there's a treatment plan. So that would be my advice.
Okay, that's good advice, and I think we all. I mean, people don't think enough and pay enough attention. Like I said, some of the sports world, CTE kind of came into the headline. I would say 10, 15 years ago with that movie Will Smith did, Concussions. That was the first time I heard about CTE, and the NFL quickly tried to shut that movie down, and that's when you started seeing the big sports start introducing concussion protocols. And I'm like you, there's a lot that's not done that could be done for the sports world and concussions and just the general public, because concussions happen so easily that you don't think about it. Like, we have so many people with traumatic brain injuries from a car crash, from a bike crash, from getting hit, different things. So I
Yeah.
totally understand what you're saying, and it is a undiagnosable, misdiagnosed treatment. There are things we can do, but like I said, we might have to have you back on, talk more about hyperbaric oxygen and costs and how that can help and what that can do. But we so much
Yeah.
appreciate your time today, your story. It's exciting to get to know you and hear about your fun life, and we look forward to learning more about you. And
Yeah.
thanks again for coming on.
Yeah. But please, guys, please find our crowdfunding. That's the only way we can treat these people for free. We want to start with the athletes and the military, our veterans, because they're coming back. And I put a video out one day. I told people on the last court day, it's on film. You guys can look it up. I said the athletes aren't the ones I'm worried about. It's our military. They're coming back here with the same injuries, and they're trained killers. And I put that out. And the following week, we had a military mass shooting in Montana. The following week, we had one military guy went on the base and shot some people up. And if you saw on last Sunday, one of our veterans went in and shot that church up and burned the other half of it. And they're still trying to dig bodies out. So, guys, we need to treat these guys for free. They need help. They're asking for help and they're being denied. And it's so simple. 1 hour in the chamber changed my life, brought me back from crawling on the floor. And it should help a lot of people. Help Joe Namath. He's the leader of this thing. I don't take the credit.
Sure.
Send it back over there. Yeah, I love that guy. I never met him, but I love him. So,
I gotcha.
Mhm.
yeah.
All right.
So thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah. And thanks to all our listeners for listening. And remember, you can find our new episodes on all your favorite platforms. Until next time.
Until next time.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to Bindwaves and continue to support Brain Injury Network and our nonprofit mission. We support brain injury survivors as they reconnect into life, the community, and the workplace. And we couldn't do that without great listeners like you. We appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember to click the like button, the share button, and the subscribe button on YouTube. And follow us on Instagram at Bindwaves and Brain Injury Network on Facebook. You can email us at bindwaves@thebind.org or go to our website, bindwaves.org, or call us at 972-769-2463. Please continue watching. Until next time.